Hello, this is Veterans News, a production of the United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Ed Allman. I'd like to thank Erica Bradley of North Shore TV for the use of her studio facilities here in Lake Success, and Mike Peters for his technical support and for providing the training for our crew. The show is broadcast on public access television. I'd like to say hello to our viewers in both Nassau and Suffolk County. I'd like to thank Sabrina Lacey, the former commander and current chaplain of the Suffolk County VFW, for being our co-host. I'd like to thank our crew, Robert Gennari, the general on camera 1, Mike Felix on camera 2, Mike Ferraro on camera 3. Mike Felix, your son is here. He's on one of the cameras. What's his name?
Ron Felix.
Ron? All right, thank you, Ron Felix. Jean Shura is our assistant director. I can't say Loretta is our graphics director because she's sitting out here in the studio. Our graphics director is Beverly Allman. Our assistant producer is Eric Spitter. Our producer is me, and our director is Robert Lane, who never gets enough credit for the work that he does. By the way, if any members of the crew would like to host the show, just bring a guest along, which is what you did. Thank you. By the way, if you'd like to ask me a question or make a comment on the show, please go to my email, mardiv1@optimum.net. Our guest today is EMERY Perry, the department commander of the AMVETS, or American Veterans. We'll talk to our guest in a few minutes, but first let us remember some of the veterans who died recently. William Houlihan was a Marine who fought in Korea. He was from Point Lookout. Steve Lehman was a veteran of the Vietnam War. He served in the U.S. Navy. He was from Garden City. Bill Hager, another proud Navy veteran, services were held in Williston Park. James Sharp served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. He was a recipient of the Purple Heart, and he lived in Smithtown. Joseph Acquavia spent 4 years in the U.S. Army, got his honorable discharge in 1962. He was from Copeg, where they have a plaque with his name on it in Tanner Park. William Lynn, formerly of Levittown, was a proud Air Force veteran. He worked as a correction officer in Nassau County Sheriff's Department. Mark Stanton, a U.S. Marine, lived in Riverhead. He died at 76 years of age. Leonard Schwartz of Brightwater served as a naval air gunner during World War II. After the war, Leonard got his bachelor's degree, his master's degree, and his doctorate degree in clinical psychology, all from the City College of New York. Arthur Raymond of Malvern joined the Army Air Corps after Pearl Harbor, and he became a sergeant in the military weatherman. That's tough duty. Irving Group Gerber, a resident of Oceanside and East Meadow. He graduated high school for gifted students, then attended college, then entered the Army Air Corps. Now, this last two veterans, I didn't have time to put them on my list because they just died. Jack Kilbride, he was a decorated Marine and police officer in the town of Freeport. He was a great friend of mine, and I met him 25 years ago. Chris Holder, also a good friend, died only at 57 years old. He died of the contaminated water from Camp Lejeune. He was a veteran service officer and for the Marine Corps League, and as a veterans counselor in the Hicksville Vet Center. That's all the veterans who died recently. If you know a veteran who died, please drop me an email. Okay, that's the end of Veterans News. Now it's the time for our guest. Welcome, Commander Perry. You met Sabrina, our guest over here? Okay. Loretta, you brought Mr. Perry here. Why? Why did you bring him?
Well, for one thing, he's a fellow veteran, and I know Perry for a long time. He's the commander for the Department of New York for AMVETS, which is, we call it Department of New York, but it's the state of New York. And he's the first one for his post, I think, ever, to become the state commander from post 1013 in Queens. And he has an interesting life. He's had some really nice life experiences, been a past police officer, detective.
He was a police officer?
Yes, and he said he had an interesting life. And yeah, we can start with, you can talk a little bit about yourself. When did you go in the military, EMERY? And
I dropped out of high school at 18 and went into the military because life was tough. When I was in high school, my majors were basketball, maybe wood shop and metal shop, so I wasn't college material. And the big thing that made me drop out, I had a coach named Roy Rubin, who after basketball practice, he made sure that I had a job. Why? Because at 18, I was living on my own. So I can pay the rent and eat.
And you were living in Brooklyn?
No, in the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Okay, so you grew up in the Bronx.
Yes.
What high school did? What
Christopher Columbus
high school? And you played basketball on the basketball team?
Oh yes.
Were you any good?
I would always get into a game. One of the games I remember in the old Madison Square Garden. We played against Boys High. We could not run with a guy named Connie Hawkins. The coach said, that's Reuben said, if they're booing, then you're doing the right thing. The score at the end of that game was 16-21. This is basketball.
Right. And this was around, what year was this?
It had to be around 59, 60 in that year.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was your active duty like?
Well, I joined in 61. And I went in New York. I forget the name of the camp. What's the name of the camp in New York?
Was it Fort Hamilton?
Camp Drum.
Not Drum, but it's in New York, upstate New York. And
Upstate.
I just can't remember. And one of the things that I learned, the Army was an education to me. I never was in a plane. But the first plane I was in, I jumped out of.
With a parachute, I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
So I said, I joined the crazies. You know, but it was good because it gave me an education that I could not get anywhere else. So I thank the Army for that.
What about the Army? Do you remember anything unusual or funny that happened to you while you were in the service?
The group I was with was a rowdy bunch. They would break out windows. A lot of fighting among ourselves, even me, you know. I hung out with the athletes because whatever group you're in, you're going to find a group to hang with you.
Right.
But they were always breaking out windows. So one day the first sergeant says, who knows how to fix windows? And I said, well, I'll try. So every week almost, we'd be going out to woodwhack and training out in the field. But since I was putting in windows that this group was knocking out, I was asked to stay behind and fix the windows sometime.
And you were serving at that time at Fort Bragg?
No, Fort Dix.
Fort Dix.
Oh no, Fort Bragg, yeah, Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg.
But Fort Bragg was where I was stationed after training in the Army. And
what unit was that?
82nd Airborne. And what I learned is that the whole school that they sent you to was to break you.
yeah.
So one day I said, I wonder how many push-ups I did. And I counted 600.
Wow.
Okay. You know, go in and get your right boot 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you're too slow. Go in and get your left boot. You know, just crazy stuff. And their job was to break you. It was when you started a class, maybe 600 people, you were told look to the right and the left because that person most likely would not be here at the end of this class, and so.
Did you
Very
hear a
good.
lot of stories about Vietnam while you were serving in?
No, when I decided to leave the Army, the re-up sergeant wanted me so bad, he promised me the kitchen sink. Oh, we'll do this, 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 this. And then he said, well, and we're talking about 63 now, he said, we're just sending you over there for training. There's no war going on. And at that age, I said, you know, you taught me how to be a good killer of people, but there might be something else I can do well, and I'll never know it if I stay here. So you all have a nice day.
Loretta, you want to take over?
Yeah, and then you
Good.
got out of the military, and then what did you do up there for work? What did you-
Yeah, so I first had to find a place to live. I talked to a buddy there. He had an aunt, she had a room. I needed to get a job. I did that, and I needed to re-up or enroll in high school. So I did all of those things within 2 weeks after leaving the Army. So I did graduate from high school eventually, but going to college is another whole story.
So you came out and you went into the police academy?
No, not that,
that?
not that quick.
Not that quick.
But if you want to know about
Yes.
that part,
Tell us about college. Did you go there first?
no.
Okay.
The police department came before college. I met some cops, some brotherly cops, and they said, we think you would make a good police officer. I said, you guys are crazy, you know. So they started training me, come down, they had on Marion Street, it's called the Guardians. The Guardians are still alive today and well. I'm still a member of them, but retired Guardians. And they started tutoring us to take a test, because I was not a good test taker. They did such a good job that when I was called for the police department, I got 2 letters, stereo, one from the fire department and the police department, same time. So I had to make a decision. I said, fires, I don't think I want to run into fires, but people I could run away from. And there you have it.
Very good.
So when did you go work for the St. Vincent's Home for Boys?
St. Vincent's Home for Boys was earlier. One of the jobs I had when I dropped out of, when I came out of the Army. And from that job, I was going to school to learn how to take tests. So I just took any test coming down. It could be dog catcher, but one of the tests I took was for a correction officer. And
Sing Sing.
and Sing Sing. So I worked up at Sing Sing as a correction officer, and then I worked at like the 12 to 8, and then when I came back to the city, I picked up my old job, which was in counseling, helping young people who had problems.
Did you acquire any admirable honors while you were serving as a police officer?
Well, no great honors, just did my job and got out, you know.
And you were in the crime prevention program?
Well, the Crime Prevention Division is a
okay.
special division. And how I got there, I have to go back to one day the captain calls me in his office and he says, what do you know about auxiliary police? And I said, absolutely nothing. He says, well, you're my man. I said, but Captain, you have a line out your door. These people want that job, and I don't know anything about it. So he says, you're my man. And I said, what hours do I work? He says, well, you make up your own hours. So I go to what we call a 124 room in the police department where they put schedules together, and I give the guy my schedule. And I have Sunday down. And he says, no, you can't do this. I said, and if you have a problem with that, talk to the commander. Why Sundays? In the 7-9, we have a lot of churches. So I put on my white shirt, my uniform, and I go to the church, and I said, well, I'm Emery Perry from the 7-9 precinct, and I'm starting a class called Auxiliary Police, and I need some help. So that's how I spent Sundays. So there's more to the story, but it gets a little long.
Very good.
And when did you retire from the police force?
I retired in 60, 70, 89, 20 years,
After 20 years.
after 20 years.
And then you were also an investigator?
Yeah, that's, in another life, I had an investigator's license, a training license, and I still got the notary license, just some of the license that I had. And a sub-teaching license also.
May we ask, how old are you now?
80.
80 years old. I find it amazing that you have that background and the type of time that you were a police officer during Bronx and Manhattan. There was a lot of diversity going on during that time.
Oh, sure.
And you prevailed being in the military, also you prevailed being in the force. So we commend you and we welcome you home for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
52 years.
To the same
Right.
woman?
To the same woman. Yes.
We'd like
Very
to say
good.
hello to you.
Hello, dear.
Yes. And thank you for taking care of our veteran.
Yes.
All right. What would you tell the young people out there the answer to the longevity of being married after serving in the military and after
Yeah.
serving in the police force?
If I could put it in a nutshell, is that each of you have strengths and weaknesses too. But when you combine what you have, no one could take it apart.
Nice.
That's a nice comment, wow. How did you first hear about AMVETS?
There was a group of retired police officers who started the group, I forget the year, but approximately 20 years ago. And they invited me in, and of course I went in because these are people that I understood and worked with and trusted.
How did you gain the passion to continue doing that after all the things that you have gone through over the years? And
Well-
at the age of 80 years old,
Yeah.
Ed, and still serving the community
Yeah.
as a state commander.
I think that people like me have an extra gene that can't say no. We're a people person. And the way I look at it is that along the road of life, we have guardian angels and good Samaritans. And I run into them all the time. I don't know what they see in me, but the people come around me, well, could you do this? Could you do that? And maybe I'm just a sucker to helping people, but you got to be a people person.
The tenacity that you carry, the leadership that you carry, the poise that you give out to the younger generation, I'm applaud, and I'm happy to be on this panel right here with you.
Yeah.
And Ed, all right? Both of you are serving
you.
in the time that you serve, and we want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
And to stay out there to the younger ones, that's why you have time to join these organizations. How many organizations are you affiliated with?
Oh, start with my church, Sacred Heart Church, retired guardians. This is people who've been up there in age who have retired and now they have another organization. It just goes on and on. Senior Center with the VAVS, which visits hospitals and so forth. We just brought blankets to St. Albans Hospital for the people
Yeah.
there.
Very good. I just realized I'm sitting with 3 Army veterans. It's tough for a Marine. I don't know.
Yeah.
We want to talk a little bit about you. Me being a woman sitting here, and I'm honored, like I said, to be able to serve in your post in the AMVETS 88. How do you feel wearing your cover and your leadership role being in AMVETS and being a woman in AMVETS?
Well, I'm really proud to be with AMVETS. I heard about AMVETS years ago, and when I got involved with AMVETS, I saw all the things that they were doing for veterans, for the community, for suicide prevention, for Rolling to Remember, for just a lot of things they're doing. For the community, we have sent our packages out to those serving overseas. We have done a lot of things, and it just drawn me to that. I just was really drawn to that, helping people, helping the community, helping veterans. sharing information with veterans when things come up, and especially if anything comes up from out of Washington, out of AMVETS National, and getting people to join AMVETS it's been really wonderful. And as a female veteran, I've gotten to meet a lot of veterans. Some of the women veterans who are also part of AMVETS, and other women veterans who are not. But just reaching out to people, letting them know about we're there for them, and all the things we've done for veterans, and all the things that AMVETS does. Really, we have even at the post level, places that we've been, and bus trips and this and that, and it's been really nice. And I'm really glad because right now I'm the Provost Marshal for the Department of New York, which I'm the one who is responsible to bring the flags to the SEC, and which is the State Executive Committee meeting in Binghamton, and the state convention we have in Binghamton in June, and set up the POWMIA table, more or less taking care of the room, make sure things are in order and everything. And it's like a sergeant of arms, but we call it provost marshal.
Right.
And that's a stepping stone to go moving up to possibly be state commander someday. And if I become state commander, I will be the first in the Department of New York as a female to be the state commander. I have to win the election, but I'm on my way.
Very good.
I was told that I am the second person of color to hold this position in 77 years.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
I
that's
commend
nice.
you for that.
Yeah.
And also, you also the second vice, right, at the AMVETS 88?
First vice at
First
AMVETS,
vice.
yeah.
So that means next year you'll be moving through the chairs too. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as first vice, I take care of membership. I reach out to the veterans, those who belong to our posts, and have them pay their annual dues. Obviously, you have to have dues have to be paid, and the expenses have to be met. And then I send out letters to people, let them know that when we send out letters to people, let them know when we have events at the post coming up so they can come and participate. We just had St. Patrick's Day. They had some food and everything at the post. We're going to have races. The races thing at the post, I forget what they call it now, or they bet on horses, like horses and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just a game, and but it brings out people to be together. It brings out the camaraderie, and to be able to do something together, and just have an outlet, something at the post we do. We also have a barbecue, a big picnic for everyone in August for all the members of the post and their families. Have games. And so it's very nice.
And you do a lot of things for Christmas for the kids as well.
Yeah,
right?
we do. They have a children's Christmas party in December. What a lot of the veterans, their families, their grandkids participate in, and we have games. We have Christiana comes from with the fire department, drops them off, and it's a big deal. It's very nice.
I just want to say one thing to you. Thank you for welcoming me when I came to AMVETS 88. When I came down there and I saw you, I was like, she's a woman and she's here and everything. And the years of bounding that we have grown over the years commends everything, because you don't see too many women.
No,
you know, in leadership roles and combining together. And I commend you for that. And thank you. And thank you for your friendship.
I'm so happy you're a part of our post. I really am. I'm so happy you joined.
Loretta, I have to ask a serious question. How come your hat has a whole bunch of
Cover.
medals? Not medals.
Their state, the state pins from different states. Conventions
No, they're
in New
not
York.
pins.
You're talking about the pearls.
Pearls.
Oh, the pearls. Okay, yes, we have Pearl Harbor every year. It's a ceremony at the Farmingdale Cemetery. Our post hosts this every year, Post 88, and we invite all the services there, Cub Scouts, VFW, American Legion, AMVETS Posts. They have a big ceremony there with guest speakers. A lot of local representatives speak. They put out, they have a wreath ceremony. It's very nice. Every December, the first Sunday of December.
All right. And Emery,
If I may comment on that, because I attended this one. Usually I don't, but for some reason I attended this one, and the Piper Band was there entertaining us, and they did such a good job. I made them my project and gave them a nice donation.
oh, very nice.
And that band is going to be going in June,
June.
to Normandy. All right?
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to be I think I'm going to be going, but with all the tension going on in the world right now, I'm questioning it. But one thing I want to say to you, Commander, for what you have done, the most inspiring thing for me, when I'm feeling like I need to get back to my roots with my military, I go down to the park, Eisenhower Park, Thank you, Bob, because I know you do a lot of work with that. And the AMVETS 88 used to do a lot of work with the park and all the different names that they got on the monuments now. It's a very, very good project that these organizations have come together and blossomed that park up to be what it is, to service, to keep alive the veterans who have passed. Some of the veterans like you have spoke of today that passed away. Over the years, Ed, you've been doing this. And some of their names are on there. And I have gone there on my own accord and seen some of the names that you represented here on that wall.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
thank
about the
you.
wall?
Yes,
You
the
might
wall.
see my name on there.
Yes.
Now you're going to have your testimonial dinner at Anton's?
Yes, at Anton's. Let me take a look at
Sure.
this piece of paper here. Yeah, I didn't want to do this. We usually do scholarships, but my group said, let's do scholarships every other year. But they said, Perry, we're going to do this testimony whether you like it or not. So here I am. We're doing a testimonial for me, and that's on Sunday, May 21st, 2023, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Anton's. And Anton's is
In Queens.
in Queens. I'll just say in Queens. Everybody knows where that is. And when you walk in, you can start drinking, eating, and dancing from the time you get there to the time you leave.
And it's $120 per person tickets, and they can
Yes.
contact you.
Yes, they
through their
contact
phone,
me.
Right, to get tickets.
For tickets,
And your phone number has been on the screen, I hope.
okay,
It's on the screen?
Yes.
good. Let me just say this last thing, then I'll keep quiet. I have a motto or a saying, and it goes like this.
You have 50 seconds to tell it.
When you work hard. When you play hard. And when you pray hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Crew, can you come up on the camera? Come up
And
on
in
the
addition-
stage?
And in addition to that, we want to thank you for
Come
all
on.
you have done over the years. And we want to
Come
thank
on,
your wife
everybody.
for doing her assistance to you.
Thank you.
And we want to thank Ed for keeping these programs going over the years. How many years have we been doing this now, Ed?
20 years.
Oh,
20 years,
Okay,
Ed.
yes. Okay, there's our crew behind us. We only have 14 seconds. Loretta's still sitting down. Bob Guarneri, where are you? There's Bob. Gene Shore is in the back. Mike Felix, where are you? Mike, right here. And the son? Ron, right. Mike Ferraro, right over there. Eric Spinner's right here. And we have 5 seconds left. Thank you very much.